Welcome to the Lake Bluff Joint Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals regular meeting on June 21, 2023. If we could have a call to order, please, Ms. Gable.
Call to order the Village of Lake Bluff's Joint Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Wednesday, June 21st. And then we'll start with a roll call vote. Member Danley?
Here.
Member Fisher? Here. Member Miller?
Here.
Member Russell?
Here.
And then Member Ann Sorensen notified the village clerk more than 4 hours prior to the meeting that she desired to attend electronically. She's out of town for business, and she will be attending remotely. Member Toll is absent, and then Chair Peters.
Present.
Great.
Yeah, with respect to Ms. Sorensen, a quorum of the PCZBA is physically present at the meeting. Notice was received by a member of the PCZBA in accordance with village policy, and Member Sorensen will be deemed authorized to attend the meeting electronically unless a motion objecting to the member's electronic attendance is made, seconded, and approved by 2/3 of the members of the PCZBA physically present at the meeting. If no such motion is made, then Ann's request to attend the meeting electronically shall be deemed approved. I take it from the commissioners that there will be no such motion. Hearing none, Ann's presence is approved and she may fully participate. Thank you. Agenda item number 2, non-agenda items.
Yes.
The PCZBA allocates 15 minutes during each meeting to allow for non-agenda items, and my understanding is that there is one short presentation tonight. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so if you guys want to step up
Yeah.
here, we'll get your PowerPoint loaded.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you could state your name for the record, sir.
Yeah, my name is Bruno Abate. So, I am a chef and owner of a Toko restaurant in Winnetka. So 3.5 years ago, it was, almost 4 years ago, God sent me there. I was downtown, and I was almost to sign a lease for another 10 years, and something say no to me, and thank God I did it. Well, it was 2019, so I left the place, and at the point I went to Winnetka, and I see a friend and another friend, a lot of people, hi, and so I want to make it a long story short. I found a wonderful landlord, Mr. David Hoffman. He owns pretty much all the building there. And he really welcomed me to open a restaurant. He knows my background. I was the pioneer. I was the one who created Fulton Market, the West Loop. So the first restaurant was on Fulton and Morgan. And when I went there was only me, the rat, the prostitute, the drogator, you name it, everything was there. But I opened this beautiful, gorgeous Italian, very modern, why I like modern, restaurant, and it was very, very successful. In 2009, I opened Wicker Park. I opened Toko, beautiful building. Actually, it was a big news why I was the first Italian knocking down a McDonald's finally, and put a gorgeous restaurant with great food. So there was a McDonald's, and I created a very, again, modern place in Wicker Park. So I sold in 2011 for Leah in Fulton Market to Alinea. You know Alinea is a 3-star Michelin, so very good people. They bought the lease while my landlord wants more money, and they become like, the mafia, right? They squeeze you. When they know you make a little money, they squeeze you. They want more, they want more, they want more. So, long story short, I opened Winnetka. I was really worried why I'm not young anymore. When I opened Winnetka, I was 65. I'm going to be 69 this year. And I was afraid why I put away some money. And, I work hard. I've been working since I was 14. I put away some money and said, what am I going to do? I mean, I was sitting there in Winnetka. There was nobody passed by at 6 o'clock. On the street of Chestnut, closed the post office. After that, there was no one. And I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? But, again, the landlord was very good. I got a lot of courage from a lot of people. And I opened, and since we opened, even with, COVID, and then came 2020, so I opened November 10 in Winnetka. And the village been so created, so grateful. They give me all the street. Why? The street where I am, Chestnut Court, it's practically the street that goes in the village. There is nothing else. So if you go now, I think there is some picture I sent you, no? No? That was the most important picture. I don't send it to you. But you see all the outdoor seating, people seating. It's like in Italy. The flavor of Italy. We have a music, we have a cello, we have a violin. We don't have a rock or stuff like that. It's not my style. My very dear friend is Riccardo Muti, so he comes in my restaurant very often. So I love more classic than noise. So this is a little bit my story. I came there, I was so afraid in Winnetka. I said, well, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to lose all the money I make. And, I always look and say, thank you, God. In 4 years, I generated $12 million in a small place. 70,000 people came every year. I attract people not only from Lake Forest, is probably 15-20% this area. And the reason I'm here, because I have people from Lake Bluff. They live here, young generation, they move here. Come on, Bruno, we need a restaurant. We don't have anything. And we need a restaurant, we need a place. We cannot go to Lake Forest and pay $200 with the kids at Le Colonial, or this place. So I say, I would love to open a place. My open a place is not just like, hi. It takes a lot. So, but I fall in love with this building. I fall in love with Lake Bluff, why it's a small community. I work with community. I give you an example. Winnetka, all the school, I give you a lot. Donation every year. There's so much I do, and I'm a very busy man. Besides working 12 years ago, I got a call from God, and God called me, and from there, my life changed. I briefly went in school. I grew up, I was born in Naples, I grew up in Milano, and I came here at 45 years. I was 45 years. So I opened this restaurant that I say for Leah, blah, blah, blah. It's a long story. But then, one night my life changed. I was very in a strange situation of my life. And something divine happened. I've been on 60 Minutes. I've been all over the world on TV. I met president. I go do speech. I don't speak English, but I do speech. For some reason, people understand what I have in my heart and not what I say with my words. So I wrote 10 pages. How can I change the prison system in America? And I never been in prison. I never know where the prison was. My family, I come from a very humble family. My father was a tailor. My mom was a chef, and so, very honest people. We don't have no shoes. We have clothes. Like my father can put a jacket with a piece of paper, but we don't have no shoes. So my mom used to put a cutting board. We have a cutting board, and my father teach us to say, you have to watch yourself when you go out. You have to look good. And so one morning I was there on the window, on the mirror, and I was like this, and my mom came and goes, "You're so beautiful." I say, "Mom, I'm beautiful. I have a hole in the shoes." And she goes, "Just to pray it doesn't rain, and everything's gonna be okay." So I grew up with a very volume and this kind of thing. And the way you see me now in this moment, that's what I am. It's not acting. I do this all day. You come to Winnetka, you are guest to come in my restaurant, and you see kids, people, old people, everyone come and kiss me, hug me. Everybody wants a good words from me. So the reason I'm doing this is I love Lake Bluff. I love the building. And I love the fact that I can bring a little legacy for what I do. Well, you see the pen there that I have in the hand. It's not a simple pen. That pen is silver. So I'm the only one in the world cooking with silver. And what silver do? The difference of stainless steel or iron and all those kind of things. Silver, it's antibacterial. The antique used to use silver to purify the water. Now they put 23 chemical. But one time, they used to put silver power to kill the germ. So eliminates the acidity. For people that have an immune system very low, people that have cancer, people that go through other stuff, infection, virus. So this is the most safe cooking. So we cook with this in my restaurant. Each pan costs about around $2,000, but it's a lifetime. So it's not about the money. And that's what my goal is. It's not about the money. My goal is to taste the great Parmigiano Reggiano. Why I import everything. I spend 1 month every year, and I go in different places, and I go get my olive oil, my tomato, my Parmigiano, my prosciutto, everything. All my mozzarella, burrata comes every week from Naples. The fish come from Sicily on Tuesday. So it's people ask, "Oh my God, it's so expensive." It's not. I think my costs are average. But when I go in places where the food is not good, and I pay $24, and you come to me and you pay $27, it's better pay $27. Then go in places the majority the food is terrible. And that's full of facility again. You go home and you feel this food go up and down. The biggest sell is Tums in America. The Tums, anti-acidity?
Acidity.
Yeah. Tums, the president of Walgreens, the owner of Walgreens is Italian. I don't know if you know that. When he comes here, he stays at a Deer Pet. And then he comes and eats by me. So, and I asked him, what it was the biggest sell. And he said that number one was Tom, and number two was the mouthwash. A lot of people drink it instead, and there's something there. They probably, yeah. But anyway, have nothing to do with. That's what I started cooking with this. I've been the only one. My mentor still in life is in Milano. I saw him last month. He's old. He doesn't cook anymore. But that's another additional. So the goal for me with this restaurant is not only to do great food and bring the community something special. An environment is special. The food, homemade ravioli every day, homemade pasta, the flour comes from Italy, the eggs are all organic. So that's how we cook, and the best olive oil. So if you move this a little bit we can talk about construction later, yeah? So this is why a little bit, if you go, that's my organization is called Recipe for Change. I am the founder and the president. Leslie Stoll was, when I was on 60 Minutes, I've been a daily show with Trevor Noah. I mean, many all over the world, so we just bring forth. This is regarding, I still teach there. I have 2 kitchen, and now I'm launching a pizza truck to give a job to 13 different teammates, so they have a low crime, so they have a possibility to work for 4 months as a program. They get salary, and a little bit of time we introduce it to different job. So that's another thing I did this year. My sponsor, I say sponsor, the people that support me is the Crown family. I have a few people here, around here in Lake Forest, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Byron Trott. So here but that's pretty much, if this happens, we're gonna do a lot of event and bring a lot of people here to do some charity event. So this is the building. This is my, pretty much my vision. I would love to change the color. Why, like this, it looks like a bank, So, and create the white, and you see the patio goes from the front and always in the back. So that would be the idea. And then we can move on the other.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, so this is more the front part. I'm not sure, this has been done like in 2 days. I pray my architect to do something. But there, what
Top button if you want to use it.
the one here?
The top one.
At the top. So I'm not sure what kind of, if we're going to do wood or we're going to do iron or whatever, but that's pretty much the part. See, this is the part of the parking lot. So we have these round things, and here, in this area, I have to ask here to extend, have an extension of 10 feet to create more kitchen. So it's just an extension from here to here. We don't go high, we don't do anything. We're gonna make it beautiful, plants every day. You see, this is been done in 2 days, so it's already beautiful, but it's gonna be more beautiful, So, and we still have about 35 to 40 parking. So, it's a pretty big thing. I mean, having parking. The area there where there is a drive-through, I can go back. The drive-through, I'm gonna leave that one. It's gonna be an opening with a window for pick-up, delivery. We're gonna do some pizza, a lot of creative things. So this is pretty much what, questo non va, che? Oh, this I don't know, we did this before. So the Parmigiano, it's I'm a Parmigiano freak. So you come to Tocco in Winnetka, and by the bar I have this beautiful room with 20 different Parmigiano, 6 years, 5 years. So where the vault is, and the bank, the big vault, it's gonna be like 100 Willow Parmigiano with all this beautiful prosciutto inside. So it's a joy to see it. This is some of the entrance. It was really, in 2 days, we had to do something to show you guys. Nothing final, but just to give you an idea about the taste and the style we have. So we don't do anything, just to do it. I like the people to eat with tablecloth. I know it became fancy at that point, but you know what? I cannot go in a restaurant and just to put my arm on the table like this. And then they put the little Windex, and then I have to pay $60 for a piece of steak. Or I go across the street at the sandwich shop, great sandwich, $7. I don't pretend that they give me the tablecloth. But when I spend $100, I'm a $50 person, please give me that tablecloth. You know, that's what I, so, and this is a little better flavor, what we like to do. I'm not sure what you want, what way we go. But what I promise to you guys, if you give me a chance, I'm gonna make Lake Bluff to know in the map of the world. That's, I promise them. Why everybody will be so curious to come and see what I done, and they're gonna come from everywhere. So this is gonna be a great place. There is so much of beautiful energy inside there, but I go by energy. I love, you know, if I go one place and there is no energy, I'm leaving. I already feel it's bad, you know, something, you know, doesn't work. So, what I'm asking you, please tonight, and you can say no, it's fine, you know, you're still my guest at the restaurant. I really love to do this project. For me, it's a challenge again. I'm gonna be 69. It's another challenge. I don't wanna sit in no place and wait for God. I wanna work. I wanna give a possibility to other people to have an experience. It's not about money. I'm not a big corporation. I take the money that I work all my life and I invest it. And you know, and I know I bring a pleasure to other people. So there is very few things to do. We don't want to change. We don't want to go up. No. It's just like the kitchen part. We have to go 10 foot, some opening, and painting the building white. Nothing else. All the other things needed to be work inside. The investment is about around 2.2 million. So it's a pretty big. Plus the property is going to be about 3.5. I want to make sure before I do anything that I have you blessed. If I have you blessed, then I'm going to go and I promise you I'm going to generate $5-6 million and the village is going to have a lot of sales tax. Do you collect sales tax or no? Or the cook
Yeah,
area?
we collect sales tax.
You collect it? Okay, I'm gonna bring you a lot of money. So, yeah, my intention is that, I mean, we're gonna do beautiful. We don't wanna disturb any of the neighbors. I really please come and see me as my guest one night. If you come all together, maybe a quiet night, a Tuesday night. If you have a time and we sit outside, we gonna taste some food, and you see, there is no noise. There is a cello play. At 10 o'clock, the cello is going. And we have apartment, we have a condo, we have a couple crazy people, but you know, what are you gonna do? They are nothing good. But you know, she's screaming, then she come down and I give it tiramisu. So one night a tiramisu, another night a pizza, so that's what it is, and we keep it going. But you know, so, yeah, I don't have anything really, anything else to say. I just, I show my art, I show my interest. I would love you to taste my food, and that's it. If I have you blessed, it will be beautiful. I have 60 days to sign and buy. So in all these 60 days, I would love to have yes or no. Why? Otherwise, I have to say no to the property and whatever. And if I say yes, I have to commit and pay the property and all the rest. So I don't want to give you too much on your shoulder, but yeah, it's going to be wonderful.
Thank you.
No, I think it's a fascinating presentation, obviously.
Thank you.
We're not in a position today to make a
No,
decision.
no, I know, no. I was not waiting tonight, excuse me. I was not waiting tonight for any answer, no. I just want you to pour my words in your heart. I know it's gonna be long. I don't know when it's gonna be the decision. I just have a 60 days, and I will love in the 60 days to have an answer. If it's a yes, yes. If it's a no, no. I'm not I want to come here and be rain. I don't want to fight. I want everything have to be legal. The this have to go there, they go there. I'm for legal things. I'm not asking for nothing else. If it's possible, fine. If it's not possible, I don't need to open another restaurant, really. Yeah. Yeah.
Stand right here.
Yeah.
So I'm Nick Standiford. I'm a zoning attorney. And Bruno, stay right here if you could. I've been to Toco and Winnetka twice. And each time I went, I met Bruno and enjoyed a lovely dinner. We went with my mother for my mother-in-law's birthday. And I asked him when he was going to build a place up in this area. I live in Lake Forest, so I asked him to build a place in Lake Forest. And then Jeremy, who's sitting right in front, found this place in Lake Bluff. And when I heard that Bruno wanted to be in Lake Bluff, I was excited. And then I saw the plans, and you will see those, the renderings. And I got even more excited, because how many of you have been to Toco and Winnetka? Anybody? It's beautiful. It's a great space. It's amazing food. It's extremely modern and well done. It fits right in with Winnetka. And what he's considering here at the old bank in Lake Bluff is beautiful. And I think it's going to be a real compliment to the village. So what we're going to be asking for in a couple of weeks is a special use permit for the restaurant. So we'll be back before this body for a request for a recommendation to approve the project. So I think tonight, any feedback you could give us or comments or concerns so that we can refine our plans would be greatly appreciated. We want to make sure the neighbors are happy, and we want to make sure that the village is happy with this product, because we think it's going to be really successful. Bruno, is there anything else I should add?
No, I want to thank you. It was a pleasure. I need to go home. I had a surgery yesterday on my spine. I'm supposed to be in the hospital today. I said, no, I have to go there. So, see, this is how much I love Lake Bluff.
He was supposed to be here Zoom tonight, so he's violating the doctor's orders. So any feedback,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you, Bruno.
feedback
I
is
think
appreciated.
Just a limited comment would be that dialogue with the neighborhood,
Okay.
at least preliminarily, but George?
Could I ask you?
Sure.
Question, that, just to
Bruno.
be clear, the property that you're proposing to acquire is just the bank property itself, the three
The three parcels.
recorded lot, not the extra lot?
Not the two parcels to the east.
Okay, okay. I would encourage you, I think we'd love to have a place like this. We would love for you to be successful, but especially at lunchtime, parking is a huge issue. You mentioned 40 parking spots. I just popped open the site on my phone, and with everything you're proposing to do there, I think you'd have to build a garage to get 40 spots on that lot. I don't know if you've looked at that yet. I'm assuming that that staff has talked to you and that you might be willing to have your employees park at our train lot so that the employees don't take up a quarter of the parking? Is that,
like in Novasi, an example? There is got parking?
has staff reviewed parking concerns?
No restaurant there. Sofia doesn't have a restaurant.
Let Drew answer.
I'm the only one have a Tori.
So to answer that question, so we haven't, these concept plans were just today. We haven't had a chance to look at this. We had a general conversation on the site. We talked about good news, bad news. That property is the most well-parked commercial property in Lake Bluff. But there would be, it is not uncommon for the village to help solve problems for parking like this by saying employees of your restaurant would need to park at the train station. We do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, we can figure it out.
Yes.
But look at your parking, for your benefit, when you do your site analysis quickly, see what you can really get on there, because I don't know if you've been here at lunchtime. Their parking is at a premium on the street. It's very difficult to find a spot. And if you're gonna need to have on-street parking, a lot of it to fill up your establishment to have a successful business at lunch in addition to the dinner, that could become an issue for you. So I'm just suggesting, you're asking for
40
feedback.
parking, so, you know, there's no restaurant have 40 parking in the property. No way. The Colonial but he doesn't own the lot. He will rent it, I don't know if the people pay there. There is no restaurant. This is the only restaurant with the 40 parking that I hopefully own it.
I
Yeah,
understand.
so,
Just-
and to answer your question, Member Russell, also, one of the things we've talked about internally, just quickly looking at what we're dealing with, is that depending on what ultimately happens with the site plan, there is the ability to even add some more on-street parking on Oak. And there's other places to add more spaces in the general area. We're talking about trying to find different ways, but to your point, yes. Yeah. So,
Grazie. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Good luck with the recovery. Yes.
Any other question?
I think that's the main thing for me is, first of all, I had a birthday there, and it was absolutely fabulous. So, and I felt the warmth, and I liked the ambiance. And you're right about the tone, and it wasn't loud, you know, it's not, and I love tablecloths. So, and your food would be lovely and well received.
When the place is small like this, so it's not big,
Right,
and of course it all depends. I mean, you know, if there is a civil people, they can talk normal. But when you have a 6-1, with all due respect,
right.
you start drinking 3-4 glasses of wine, and the voice,
Right.
Aye. So that from there it goes to him, to him, and it become like, you know, so.
But we've sat here and, you know, listened to developments on that property and the ones to the east of it. And, you know, we've had a lot of wants and desires to build and have people to, you know, live in place older. And, you know, we just don't have a lot of the middle America. Anyway, where I'm going with that is, you know, the neighborhood is very passionate about their town, and our town has, you know, limited parking, as you've heard. And we also, I don't know what you would do about valet, but I'm sure you'll figure that out, because valet, like, are you gonna have valet service and, you know, that sort of thing, so.
No, we're gonna have a ballet. I mean, you know, we try to do everything, everything that makes hospitality comfortable for
Right.
everyone. So,
Right.
yeah, no.
And I think the other thing too, though, is, I mean, we don't have an Italian restaurant in town, and I guess, you know, when you say pizza, we just opened a pizza place, and I just want to, you know, there's, how many coffee shops can one have? I mean, I think we don't have Italian, but we do have pizza, and, you know, we're pretty loyal to our town. We're at the end of the train, if you think about it, you know, but yet it's a really valuable, lovely place, and I know it would be,
Italian, you have the best Italian.
there you go. But
That's is the best Italian in town.
And I think the more you understand the community and our limitations, because there is, and if we can have some creativity in the parking that can benefit everybody, I don't know how, but you're right, there is the empty lot where the bank is, and there are parking spots there.
There is a lot of parking.
So
You know, if you.
I'm going to remain positive.
I told the architect the way I want the parking, so we have about at least 40. No problem. Then you have a parking, they're moving. I mean, there is a.
Right.
40 cars is a lot. With NECA is a disaster since I opened. There's no parking, people have to park 3 blocks away, and it's just a night. We close also the street, so there is a less parking, you know, so.
Right.
But everything works out. Yeah, everything works well. I appreciate you letting me please.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
it's lovely. And I think the main thing is, I think it's very, very wise to come up in front of our board and to have the community aware of it and participate and have their opinions, but
Thank you.
Any other comments from the commissioners?
No, the only thing I guess I would say is, and I think it sounds fascinating, and I can't wait, to see it come alive and everything, just, minimize as many need for variances as you can possibly have. I think the less need for variance, and I don't know where you fit that addition, whether that needs a variance or whether you can, build that addition on it, but the less you can have to ask for rules to be changed, I think that just will help matters. So,
Yeah, well, I have to build a restaurant, it was a bank.
Right.
So I had to put a black iron on that.
right.
And I have to found, and this is one thing that I wanna share with you, why I don't remember someone asked me about the smell. My food doesn't matter, only when you're together, when you plate, you get the flavor, the tomato, from that thing, you don't hear nothing. And we don't fry that much, we only have one fry calamari that we do. As I said before, all my fish come from Mediterranean, from Spain, or Sicily every Tuesday. So we have shipping the fresh fish, just fishing. I'm trying to contact this company. When there is a possibility, I'm gonna put like a wood burning oven. So for the pizza, I'm gonna put one wood burning and one that's electric. So the wood burning oven, I found a company, so where where I care about pollution and environment. So the wood burns, when it comes out, it goes in this like how you call it, camera full of water. So when the smoke come out, it's clear. That makes sense? If I let the wood burning and just go in the air, you're gonna have all those things that's gonna go everywhere. So that's gonna be a bad for the neighbors. So I'm thinking about that. If I do it, or maybe I don't. But even for the smell, there is a situation where we change oil every day. So you don't feel anything. I mean, this is not fried chicken or we don't do chicken wings or stuff like that. So we do one thing in the fry. Come on. Very good. So also that will be good for the neighbors. It's something that I'm gonna go, talk to them and each door, bring a little olive oil and say, hey. But what? I have to go on my back, I have to go lay down. I really appreciate it.
Thank,
For coming.
yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you very
coming
much.
For the hospitality. And one of the other reasons I like Lake Bluff, that I have a lot of friends that I play show acres. So it's very close, now I can use my basketball.
Member Miller, any? Oh. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Tremendous
I appreciate
exchange.
it. If there is any question, you can find me at Toko.
All right,
Great.
Can I leave this?
Feel better.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good night. Grazie. Ciao. Yeah, I don't need it.
Have a good night. Thank you.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Send that down to them.
Can we
Just
see the
one package.
All
components of
right.
this one?
Agenda item number 4.
We need to approve the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. Agenda item number 3.
Ah,
You could introduce that, Ms. Gable.
the minutes.
Yeah, the
For, May 17th, if anyone had any changes.
Yeah, any changes or other proposed revisions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Need a copy of
Carried
this,
away.
Claire?
Yeah.
All right. Agenda item number 4, Ms. Gable, if you could.
Yep. Charles F. Clark III and Vanessa Clark are seeking variations to construct a second-story addition on the existing detached garage at their single-family property at 618 Maple Avenue. The subject property is zoned R4 Residence District and has been designated a local landmark. In order to construct the second-story garage addition, the petitioners are seeking the following variations from the zoning regulations. Minimum accessory structure height, section 10-5-4, maximum floor area ratio, section 10-5-6, minimum rear yard setback, sections 10-5-9 and 10-5G-2, and the requirement that an accessory structure be located at least 5 feet from the principal building. That's section 10-5-9, and any other zoning relief as required to fully grant the petition and construct the improvements. Please note that the daylight plane variation in the agenda has been removed from this list. And the petitioner's architect is in attendance here tonight. The application and PowerPoint should provide reasoning for the requests in regards to the standards. And with these variance requests, the PCZBA makes a recommendation that is forwarded to the village board.
Thank you, Ms. Gable. Yeah, if you could rise, Mr. Douglas, state your name, and we'll swear you in, please.
Rob Douglas?
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Yes.
All right, please present.
Do we have a rule about the owners should be here as well? Okay,
I think they're on virtual.
virtual, very good. So I believe Vanessa Clark, she's in the virtual world? Okay, so I guess, oh, you can hear us, okay, good. Well, my name is Rob Douglas, I'm an architect here locally in Lake Bluff, and we're here to take a look at this house at 618 East, we're on 618 Maple Avenue. Full disclosure, I live about 4 doors away, so, so what I'll do is, first of all, maybe just to get a little clerical work done, we do have 2 more letters of support that came in after the submittal of the material on Friday, so I just put a bundle together here. The additional letters of support from the neighborhood, that's now totaling 15 residents in the immediate area. Let me begin first with a little background on this property. As you know from the filing here, this house was awarded recently landmark status from the Historic Preservation Commission back in April. And as far as the building goes, it was built in 1910. A beautiful example of prairie-style architecture, and the interiors really reflects the arts and crafts movement of the early 20th century. So beautifully detailed interior. The architect on this building was Henry Tomlinson, former partner of Frank Lloyd Wright, who also was the architect for Village Hall here, built in 1904. And so he certainly has his place in history. Now, due to the age of the house, modern day needs are required for houses to maintain, to be usable and made more productive while still protecting the historic character of the property. The objective is to create a home office which will accommodate both the homeowner's working needs. To accomplish this objective, the goal is to add on to the existing garage
a second floor. So there's no impact on the site at all, no excavation, nothing of that nature. And this will provide the space that we'll need for the homeowners. The addition also creates the opportunity to integrate an existing utilitarian hip roof, as you can see back in the corner. Maybe the next slide, if we can go to that, so you can see really what the hip roof is compared to the prairie-style roofs on the main house. The intent here is to make this roof have a roof similar to what's on the house. It'll be basically the little brother to the larger structure on site, but it'll all blend in as all prairie in style. As far as, might as well just move right in through the slides here. We can go to the next one. Formality here, this is, excuse me, I wanted to pass the plat of survey, but you really can't read it from that slide. Basic zoning of what the site allows, height, open air porch, maximum floor area, impervious surfaces, and then the setbacks that had to be calculated based on the zoning ordinance, because it is a lot that is kind of unusual in the way the setbacks were set up. So that's just basic information of existing conditions. The next slide, you'll see the existing conditions of the site. The dark blue shade down the bottom there is a pre-existing nonconformance of the garage is encroaching into the setback on the side of the property there. I can't tell you the date of that garage. I know that the Clarks moved in 21 years ago, so it was right around 2001, 2002 they moved in. So, but that's a pre-existing condition. You'll also see on this, it's worthy noting, is the light blue around the building itself. That is the eave projection on the prairie-style roof, which exceeds more than 2 feet. So according to the zoning regulations, any eave projecting greater than 2 feet has to be added into the FAR of the property. So that's something I did not know actually initially, but that's the impact those existing conditions have on the property. So if we move to the next slide, this is what is being proposed. By adding additional eaves, now we're up to 870 square feet of eaves on the new garage and on the existing house. To put that in perspective, 870 square feet is nearly a 4-car garage, and that's all in the form of eaves. So that's certainly a hardship. Certainly, I have to say honestly, I think that eave guideline on the ordinance is somewhat prejudicial to certain architectural styles, and certainly prairie school style is being discouraged in that manner. But fortunately, this building is over 100 years old, so it's falling under the landmark status of historic significance. The dark blue is now that garage, because of the addition to the second floor, is pushing it over 1,000 square feet. That makes it then have to conform to the side yard setback of the primary structure. So those are the calculation impacts on the site. And if we move forward to the next slide, in red is identifying the eave projection calculation. Existing right now is 706 square feet of eave overhang and 870 with the proposed. If you do the math, removing the eave calculation, things are much less severe when it comes to the calculations being used for the property, but we'll get to that in a moment. I think the remaining slides primarily are just showing existing conditions, and then if we can move forward to the next slide, here's just a section of the existing garage. They are tall garage doors there. The next slide is the existing garage as it exists today. The proposed one, footprint does not change. We would be lowering the floor plate so we can get a second floor up above. The garage now, in this case, would be 3 feet above the allowable 17-foot line. If you go to the next slide, that's the garage itself, and then one more slide. I just want to get to that last one. The top being what you see today, and the bottom one is what we're going to hopefully see in the not-too-distant future. As you can see, very little is happening to the site. The prairie gable and eaves on the garage now will now relate to the main building versus being a hipped roof that really has nothing to do with anything on the site. And the homeowners can also get their additional space that they're needing. I might add too that they've been here for over 20 years. They plan not to go anywhere. They'd like to be able to do this so that they can, continue living in Lake Bluff that they love. And I think, there are two things I want to mention about diversity of our community that makes it so rich. It's certainly diversity of age, which is really important. It's tragic when, as people get older, they have to move. We like to keep our residents here. And then secondly, the diversity of architectural styles. I think this is a real gem in the town here, and but under today's zoning ordinance, it would be very difficult to build a prairie-style building or anything with eaves that have a larger projection on them. So I'm not quite sure how that eave component got into the zoning ordinance, but it's there. I'm just not, I'd like to have that revisited at some point, maybe as far as future revisions that might be considered for the zoning ordinance. As far as square footage numbers, I just want to run a few things by you here. The existing, right now, what's allowed is 4459 on square footage. The actual right now is 5228, which puts 768 square feet over the allowable, which is 17.2%. Now, if you took the 706 square feet of eave calculation in there, the house then falls down to 4,522, which puts it 62.7 square feet over allowable, which right now would then calculate as 1.5% approximately over the allowable. As for the proposed, right now with 870 square feet, the total FAR would be 6,088 square feet, which has 1,628 square feet over, pushing it out to 36.5% over the allowable. Once again, if we took the eave projection calculation out, the actual total size then would be 5,218 square feet, which is 758 square feet over, and that's including the garage too. And that's a 17% over the allowable bulk. So that eave calculation really does have a significant impact on this property. So I think 17% sure is more palatable than 36.5. So those are my thoughts. And I don't know if Vanessa, if you can hear me, if you want to add anything to this?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I guess, I don't know about you, Charlie, but the only thing that I might add is that we've done a lot of improvements to the home since we've been there. and we've taken great care of the house and tried to be completely respectful of the design, and made some additions, used Jim LeDuc, and never before have they included the eaves in the FAR. So this is something that's new to us, and I don't know when it changed. So that threw us a little bit when we saw that, because otherwise we would have had enough square footage. I don't really know the calculations, but it makes it look like we're doing something crazy, and what we're actually doing is just raising the garage 3 feet. And it would make it a lot easier to age in place and have my husband's planning to retire. We'd like to stay in Lake Bluff, and we love our home. I actually wrote a small, tiny little book. It's only like 60, 70 pages on the architect. I went back to school and did it I wrote a paper for a class, and my professor said that's original research. So we turned it into a book. And we have a love for the house, for the style of architecture, and for being true to it. And we want to stay here and have everything. The bedrooms are very small. There's very few closets. We don't have attic space. We have a little basement space. There's nowhere else to put a comfortable working space in the house. You want to say anything, Charlie?
No, thanks. I think that's well said.
So I open to the commissioners for comments, please.
It might be, I think I'd recommend, Mr. Douglas, that you go through the standards for variation, just to make a record if you could.
Okay, give me a moment. I've got it here somewhere. Okay, well, I don't think we need to go through the narrative request, but for the following standards. For practical difficulty and hardship, I guess what I'll do is just read it for you, I guess. Let's see, the house was built in 1910, designed by Harry Webster Tomlinson, who was also the architect of the Village Hall. The Vliet Museum in the early 2000s identified and awarded the property with a Distinguished Home Award, which is now the Lake Bluff History Museum. Just recently, the HBC landmarked the property with HBC landmark status. The restoration by the homeowners has preserved the prairie style on both the interior and exterior of the house. Due to the changing workplace environment of the home, an office is needed. To achieve the proposed improvements to the livability of the house and maintain the historic character requires the variance to be requested. By adding a second floor on the existing garage will create 695 square feet of additional space. Due to the prairie-style eaves and the overhangs greater than 2 feet, the historic building is being penalized with the additional 870 square feet, assuming that the addition is done. The new roof, which mirrors the roof on the house, will require a variance on the ridge height of 3 feet for the garage. Also, as depicted in the drawings, the addition will aesthetically blend the garage into the context of the main house. So for practicality and hardship, I think the eaves are being identified as certainly a variable that's creating hardship and difficulty. Unique physical conditions. In the past, the building was awarded a Vliet Museum Distinguished Award and HPC designation recently. These categories, this categorizes the building with extraordinary physical conditions particular to and inherent to the specific property as a great example of prairie-style architecture, let alone being a significant architect involved. You know, my packet, I don't have the rest of those standards. I apologize. I'm missing a page. Sorry about that. Variation of standards. So that was unique physical conditions, not merely special privilege. I'm trying to remember what we wrote, because this doesn't really have it written in here. Let's see. I
Yeah,
apologize.
that we'll just adopt and incorporate by reference. the
Yeah, if you
submission.
don't mind, because this document here isn't really showing what was written in the application. And, you know, for code purposes, well, the one code thing that came up was the fact that the chimney on the south end of the main house sits out into within 5 feet of the adjacent structure. And it is true that structures closer than 5 feet, some sort of fire protection needs to be addressed on the codes, that is. I'm not sure what the solution would be on that, if it's a fire-rated partition between the buildings, or, I don't know, possibly a sprinkler system. I'm not sure. We're going to have to dive into that a little bit more, but we'll have to maintain at least some sort of 1 hour separation between the two structures. And that's due to the chimney projection. For public health and safety, there's really no impact on the adjacent properties. It was brought to my attention that the south side of the garage, that we might need to consider controlling the rain runoff from the roof, possibly some sort of maybe downspouts going into an underground pipe out to the curb, or possibly a French drain, something like that along there to help control water, making sure it stays on the property and not onto the adjacent property, the neighbor's property. So, so maybe that's the only thing that really came up that might have an impact on any adjacent neighbor. Otherwise, all this work is being done on an existing garage structure, no excavation work. It'll really minimize any impact on the site. And we believe it'll help achieve the space that the homeowners are trying to get with their house, and also then blend that garage into the character of the main house, versus the hip roof, which is really singing a different tune. So hopefully that answered your standards question.
No, appreciate that. Ms. Danley?
Yeah, I just had a question real quick about that sprinkler system that I didn't know, maybe that was just a question to the village. I didn't know that you had to have a sprinkler system if it's in a garage structure, not the residence. Is it just because of the square footage, or?
No, it's because of, if you get within 5 feet of an adjacent secondary structure, there's going to have to be some sort of 1 hour rated barrier, possibly on the new garage. It's something I'll have to work out with the building department. I don't know what the answer is. Bottom line, if a car catches on fire in the garage, you want to buy time before it jumps to an adjacent structure, and that's why that 5-foot distance is there.
Okay.
I don't know what the answer is. It might be developing, you know, some UL-rated, fire-rated separation on that south or the north wall of the garage, possibly, but that's a detail that will be worked out.
Well, to get to that, the home, I mean, the hardship is the eaves. I mean, to have so much hardship with the existing, and yet to develop and design to complement the existing is far greater than what was there in the HIP. And thank you for that, Rob and Vanessa and Charlie and the clerks to be stewards to that house is, front and center. So the numbers look like they're asking for a lot, and I think it's a good reminder when you sort of take that away. Your presentation clearly showed that they really aren't asking for a lot. It's the hardship of the existing, and I'm wondering why sometimes we have homes like we had 525 as well, that, that they have to come up in front of us, and yet they should, I don't know, somehow there should be streamlined if they're, or looked at through the historic preservation instead of, I don't know. Seems like a hardship for them to do something within the guidelines of historic home that has its own unique attributes.
Well, and you've also referenced, the village board passed in April the guidelines around landmark homes here in Lake Bluff, and I can't tell you how many there are, but they're not that many. So it is an isolated situation that occurs. And the whole intent behind that was to try to protect these homes while still updating and modernizing them to everyday or modern day living, and not to have them torn down, which, we want to hang on to our history. So the intent was to try to help work to be done on properties while at the same time protecting them. So, and I think that's what the Clarks are trying to achieve here. And I know this is kind of a new thing that's finally gotten on the books, so it is maybe, new waters that we're sailing on right now. But that's how I certainly have interpreted the modification of the zoning ordinance for landmark homes.
Ms. Sorensen?
I think I'm happy to see a new garage structure. There are a few things that really grab the eye, and walking by that garage has never fit. So I fully appreciate the effort that has gone into this and the planning. I do want to clarify one thing, and that is that this will be an office space. It won't be plumbed in, or it would require more effort were it to ultimately become some sort of a housing property.
There is no intent to be putting a bathroom in or anything like that, which would, you're right, because that then starts opening up the questions around, do you have two houses on one property? So no, we're fully aware of that guideline.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so that's great. And then the only outstanding questions that I have been raised, and that's the drainage, because that's an issue not right now, but ever increasing for all of us in town, and then the fireproofing, and those I think need to be determined still going forward.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay, and that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, first off, I really appreciate everything that was done, and I really liked the fact that the Clarks were so proactive in seeking out the neighbors. I think that makes a world of difference to me anyway, in realizing how many people have been made aware and have vocalized their support of the project. So, thank you for taking that extra effort, or making the extra effort. I think, as Ann said, the scale, and Jill, the scale of the garage is dramatically improved. The scale of the garage doors, I love the gable as opposed to the hip, everything. It kind of moved from being a utilitarian structure kind of to much more a part of the house. So thank you. I think that's a great addition. And I think, Rob, what what everybody's pointing out here is that we're just sort of finding the unintended consequences of, every time we set a new rule, I think there's unintended consequences, and the impact on bulk of the eaves probably does need to be looked at, since we've had two things in the past 2 months come up about them. So maybe that is something that needs to be looked at in the future. But overall, I think it's a great addition, and thank you for, all the time and the time that they've spent in the past on the property.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Commissioner Miller.
Well, what I was going to ask has already been answered. I too agree that this is a very well put together addition, and compared to the last edition we voted on, this is very, very modest in both size and height. So I have really nothing needed or added to this.
Thank you. Commissioner Russell, please.
Mr. Douglas, is the height of the primary structure about 28 feet? Couldn't find a height anywhere on the submittal documents. And the reason why I'm asking is it does seem to me that it's significantly less than what's allowed on the lot, 34 feet.
It's below the allowable, no, that's absolutely for sure. Honestly, I don't have that information with me, but I do know that, it's a fairly shallow pitch. I think it's 3.5, 12 on the slope, so that ridge is a long ways away from its maximum height. But I can verify that number for you if you'd like.
That's okay. It's, when I first saw the application and saw the numbers and 37% FAR, I thought, oh my, this is going to be a problem. But as I started looking at the home, analyzing why the FAR is where it is, maybe I made many mistakes in the past, but I would have never charged 870 square feet of eave for that home. Only the portions that are over more than 2 feet I would have calculated. But be that as it may, if you do take the eave out of the equation, you look at the house that it's 6 feet less than it could be in terms of the appearance of bulk. If you would apply the 10% 10% bonus that we've agreed Landmark Home should have, but this home didn't qualify technically because it was already over the floor area, the actual math then results to just a 7% FAR variation. So it's nothing like the math, the pure math. I mean, the math in the application is correct, but if you take out the mitigating factors, we're down to 7%. I do agree with the comment about the drainage. In a hard rain on the south wall, the rain without a gutter or without something is going to literally land on the neighbor's little shed in their backyard. So something needs to be done because the eave of the house is within inches of the property line. The other thing that concerned me at first was the fact that we've got I was thinking a fairly tall wall, very, very close to somebody else's property line, but when I looked at the details of the second story addition, which is in terms of height is actually quite modest, very modest. The 5 foot, if you move in 5 feet from the property line, that's right about at the 17-foot height, which is what the code would otherwise allow for a flat roof detached garage. You could sit within 5 feet of the property line. So in reality, there's very little overall impact beyond what the code would allow for certain type of structures already. So having said that, I'll be voting in favor of the variations.
Yeah, and I appreciate you mentioning the, when you just do just a very straight zoning calculation, yeah, it really became something that it's hard to see. So I appreciate your peripheral vision looking into this project and really why these numbers were magnified the way they were because of unintended consequences with eave projections, and then that calculation that started really changing the picture. So, no, I appreciate your insight there, because, yeah, I think we're, as I say, minimizing impact on the site, and that, yes, that drainage, that needs to be addressed. I'm fully aware that it happens too often where you have water running off onto a neighbor's property, and you gotta get that under control for sure. So we'll make sure that is addressed. But thank you for your thoughts there.
I would echo the various comments of the various commissioners. On its face, obviously, it was problematic, but once you started to work through the history and work through the math, things looked a lot more optimistic, as more fully reflected by the other comments. Just two quick questions, Mr. Douglas. The neighbor to the south and the neighbor to the west, any impact or any comments from them?
They both submitted letters of support.
Oh, they did?
For the project, yes.
Okay.
Of the 15 people, I mean, Vanessa and Charlie covered everybody who actually touched their property, then the people all along the east side of Maple Avenue. So they, and got people on North Avenue too. So everybody who was in close proximity was spoken to, and they did a lot of legwork, you know, talking to all their neighbors. So hence the 15 letters of support.
And then the hedge, I think behind the garage or behind the home, looked like arborvitae. Will that stay?
I can't speak to that honestly, but I think the construction, if we move forward with this, nothing back there will be impacted as far as construction goes. So I would assume if the homeowners are happy with it, it can remain. It really won't be impacted. I mean, you could stage all the work off the driveway and then work your way back into the garage area and really not impact any ground surfaces around the perimeter of the garage. So I would think that could stay, but I know it's a small little garden space back there, but that's really an answer for the homeowner, or a question for the homeowner. I don't know, Vanessa, do you have a comment on the arborvitae behind the garage?
If they can get enough sun, they'll stay, I think. It's a shady backyard, and we love it. I hope they'll stay.
Yeah, when I drove by tonight, I noticed they're rather significant as far as the height perspective. So I think from an optimistic
They're
perspective,
trimmed every
that'd be
year. They don't go any higher. They're trimmed every July.
Okay. Yeah, I'm favorably disposed also to the petition. As you know, Mr. Douglas, we're a recommending body on this one. I think the commissioners raised a couple potential conditions with respect to drainage, and you raised the fire retardation scenario, but I'm also comfortable with the proposal. Any other comments from the commissioners? We can probably close the public hearing, and is there a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to approve. Do we put stipulations with the drainage and the firewall?
Yeah, we can put in conditions for the recommendation in the motion. For the record.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion among the commissioners? Hearing none, could we have a vote, please?
Member Danley?
Aye.
Member Fisher?
Aye.
Member Miller?
Aye.
Member Russell?
Aye.
Member Sorensen?
Aye.
And Chair Peters?
Aye.
Motion passes.
So motion carries. What are the proposed next steps?
So they will go in front of the village board, and we can do that as early as our Monday meeting.
All right.
Our next Monday meeting, I should say.
All right. Agenda item number 5, please, I guess. Staff report.
Yeah, so the only item that I have to share that I've already emailed you all is that we will have our comp plan kickoff on July 13th. It's a Thursday at 7 p.m. And you'll be hearing from Michael Blue of Tesca and also Jennifer from the missing middle housing. The group that will be doing that as well should be in attendance. So I think it'll be a great kind of kickoff, truly explaining an overview of the project and giving timelines and kind of an explanation of how they're going to engage the public as well. So that will be before our next actual meeting.
Great.
Is
Thank
there
you,
anything
Ms.
on the
Gill.
agenda so far for next meeting?
So far, no, but I have heard some rumblings of things that may be on there. The deadline for submittal is the end of this week.
Do we think this restaurant will be on the next agenda?
That one I'm not sure of. It depends if they can get kind of everything they need together by the end of this week.
They're on a timeline and.
They are in a timeline. I think what they're looking for that timeline is just kind of a sense of what the community wants with that. So I think coming in front of this board informally and hearing your comments as well as talking to the neighbors will give them that. If they can get in front of the PCZBA and village board as well within that 60-day timeline, that's great, but I don't know that that's completely necessary for
You
them
think
to.
they'll do an informal presentation again? And that now the cat's out of the bag and see what the community says? 'Cause I
At
think
the
that's-
next meeting?
Yeah, because I think that's the key. Well, how is the neighbors going to react to this is the key to this going forward. And if there's a big to-do, I don't anticipate this is going to happen based on our previous experiences.
Yeah.
I'd like to maybe know that before we get into formal hearings and we're here all night listening to 50 people complaining, if that's the case.
Yeah, and that's something that we can definitely communicate to them.
Yeah, I think we need to get a community input if this is going to happen. Don't you agree?
All right. Agenda item number 6, Commissioners' Report. That may have been it.
I'm in for Italian food, so.
All right. Agenda item number 7, motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries.